Dear students, Namaste. This is Dr. Pallavi Gupta. Today I am delivering my lecture on the grounds for rejection and withdrawal of nomination. What are the grounds for rejection and withdrawal of the nomination of a candidate? The topics I will cover under this today in my lecture is the scrutiny of the nomination, objection to a nomination paper, and the grounds for rejection of nomination paper by the returning officer, and the grounds for withdrawal of a candidature by a candidate. So these pictures are showing that these topics I will cover. Now, regarding the general idea about the scrutiny of the nomination, as after delivering the nomination paper to the returning officer by the candidate, the returning officer at that time will tell or will inform the person about the date, time, place for the scrutiny of the nomination paper. And on the fixed date, the scrutiny of the nomination will be done. The candidate, their election agent, or one proposer of each candidate, and one other person duly authorized in writing by each candidate may attend such scrutiny session at such time and place as prescribed. So, if we see the idea behind this scrutiny of the nomination is highly important function of the returning officer, because any lapse on his part might ultimately result in the entire election being declared void. The law provides that if the nomination of any candidate is improperly rejected by the returning officer at the time of scrutiny of the nomination, the entire election shall be declared void by the High Court on this ground alone, and the High Court is not required to go into the question whether the candidate whose nomination paper has been improperly rejected had any chance of success, or whether such a rejection had any material effect on the result of election otherwise. So, this is the idea behind the scrutiny of the nomination paper. And if it is done so, if it is not carefully done by the returning officer, then the election shall be declared void for no fault of the candidate, but on the account of the lapse of the returning officer in the performance of his function. In such a case of this nature, the election of the returned candidate, I can take one example where the election of the returned candidate from the Sohan Assembly constituency to the Himachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly was declared void by the High Court of Himachal Pradesh only on the ground that the returning officer of the constituency had improperly rejected the nomination paper of two candidates on unsustainable grounds. The Supreme Court could also not come to the rescue of the unfortunate returned candidate. So it was happened in the case of Krishna Mohini versus Mohinder Nath in 2000. And the same thing happened in the case of Anil Baluni versus Surinder Singh Negi in 2005, where the nomination of the appellant was held by the Supreme Court to have been improperly rejected by the returning officer of the Kotwar Assembly constituency in Uttaranchal at the time of general election to the Uttaranchal Legislative Assembly in 2002. So therefore, Election Commission advised to all returning officer is not to reject any nomination paper unless they are sure of the ground of rejection as legally sustainable. But it does not mean that the returning officer should accept a nomination paper even where he is more or less personally satisfied about the disqualification or lack of qualification of the candidate. So, realizing the importance of the scrutiny of the nomination, the law requires that scrutiny should be done by the returning officer himself unless he is unavoidable prevented from performing his important function as proviso to the section 22 subclass 2 of the 1951 Act. Only in such exceptional cases the assistant returning officer are permitted to perform the function of scrutiny of the nomination. However, it is not necessary that a specific authorization should be given on behalf of the returning officer in favor of the assistant returning officer to scrutinize the nomination paper if an emergency situation arises. So this was the idea behind this section 36 subclause 1. And subclause 2 means the giving power to the returning officer for examining the nomination. So now regarding the date, time, place of scrutiny of the nomination, here I would like to say that the date of scrutiny of nomination is specified by the Election Commission in their notification of the programs, and the returning officer has no discretion to change it. However, the returning officer has discretion to fix the time and place at which he may take up the scrutiny or the nomination on the date fixed for the purpose. The notice, already I have told you that in this regard he has to give the notice both in public notice of the election issued by him in the prescribed form and also in the receipt which he has to give to each candidate in acknowledgement of having received the nomination paper from him. Now the question comes, who can be present at the scrutiny of the nomination? At section 36 subclause 1 says that scrutiny of the nomination has to be made by this returning officer in a totality transparent manner, in totally transparent manner, in the presence of the candidate and their representative. In addition to himself, every candidate can take with him his election agent, one of his proposer, and other person to be present at the scrutiny of nomination. Thus, each candidate can be represented by 4 persons, including himself, at the scrutiny of the nomination. All the documents accompanying these nomination paper have also to be made available for such inspection by the returning officer so that the candidate have full opportunity of raising objection, if any, in regard to the validity of the nomination of their rival contestant. Although it is not necessary that a candidate or his representative should be present at the time of scrutiny of the nomination, and no nomination can be rejected solely on the ground of the absence of the candidate or his representative during the scrutiny proceedings. But if any objection is raised with regard to the nomination of the candidate and there is no one to rebut on his behalf, the returning officer may be justified in rejecting the nomination if he finds substance in the objection raised in relation to his nomination and the same remain unrebutted, means there is no one to rebut it. So, in the case of Muhammad Yasin Shah versus Ali Akbar Khan, the nomination of the one of the candidate was objected to on the ground that the signature of his proposer on the nomination paper was not genuine and the proposer was not present at that time, and in the absence of the candidate and his proposer, it was not possible for the returning officer to verify the signature of the proposer, and the rejection of the nomination paper by the returning officer in such circumstances was upheld by the Supreme Court to be a valid rejection, and it was done by the Supreme Court. So, now, regarding the conduct of scrutiny proceedings, here I can say that the scrutiny of the nomination is a just quasi judicial function of the returning officer. Although the status of the court has not been given, his duty is judicial in character. The inquiry by the returning officer into the question of validity or otherwise of a nomination paper is a summary inquiry. So, already I told you that who can object to a nomination at the scrutiny of the nomination. An objection in regard to the validity of the nomination paper of a candidate can be raised either by any of the candidate or by any of their proposer, election agent, or authorized representative present. Such objection can also be raised by the returning officer suo motu if he has any doubt in respect of any nomination paper, as under section 36 subclause 2. And grounds for the rejection of nomination. The law permits returning officer to reject any nomination paper only on the ground of defect which is not of a substantial character. So, under section 36 subclause 2 and subclause A says that the returning officer shall examine the nomination paper and shall decide all objection which may be made to any nomination and may reject any nomination on the following grounds which are mentioned in section 36 subclause 2 subclause A, B and C. So, before that we can say that the returning officer is authorized by law to reject the nomination of a candidate on the ground that number 1 on the date fixed for the scrutiny of the nomination, the candidate either is not qualified or is disqualified for being chosen as member of parliament or as the case may be, or of state legislature concerned under the constitution or the law. As we have already discussed that article 84, 102, 173 and 191 of the constitution is related to that, and this Part 2 of the RP Act and Section 4 and Section 14 of the Government of Union Territories Act 1963 are talking about this qualification and which are required to have. If it is not there, nomination paper shall be cancelled. If candidate, the second one is, if candidate or we can say there has been, if a candidate is failure to comply with any of the provision of section 33 relating to presentation of the nomination paper in the prescribed form, duly complied in all respect and subscribed by the required number of proposers and within the prescribed time and period, or failure to comply with the Section 34 relating to making of the requisite security deposit in the manner prescribed. So, if a candidate fails to comply with the provision of Section 33 or Section 34, and if the signature of the candidate or the proposer on the nomination paper is not genuine, the rejection can be done, and which I have already discussed this case. Although there is not concrete decision regarding to fail if a candidate fails to give correct particulars of electoral roll number, sometime it may be just a irregularity, although it depends upon case to case. And another defect of substantial character will be the failure to submit the requisite affidavit in the form 26 in pursuance of the reference made by the Supreme Court. And so we can say about the grounds which are I have just discussed about. In addition to that, it says that the returning officer is not having the discretion to reject the nomination paper only on the basis of irregularity. There should be some defect of the substantial nature. And what is the defect of substantial nature? It depends sometime case to case. So, if a candidate fails to give the requisite affidavit disclosing the antecedent history or the particulars regarding assets, liability, and educational disqualification as required in the revised form 26, then the nomination paper may be rejected. That I have already discussed. If candidate failed to comply with the section 33 and section 34, and it means if that I have already discussed that if there is not a genuine signature, yes, and if candidate left some column in the affidavit blank, in that case the rejection the nomination paper may be rejected. And it was held in the case of Resurgence India versus that, where the Supreme Court held that leaving any column blank in affidavit, that is affidavit form 26, despite a notice to that effect by the returning officer, will render the nomination of the candidate liable to be rejection. And then after that this scrutiny of the nomination paper, the returning officer shall make the decision in written, that is we can say section 36 subclause 6 is saying that the returning officer shall endorse on each nomination paper his decision whether he is accepting the nomination paper or rejecting the nomination paper. If the nomination paper is rejected, he will make the record in writing a brief statement of reason for such rejection. And after that, just we can say the immediately after the nomination paper has been scrutinized and decision accepting or rejecting the same has been recorded, the returning officer shall prepare a list of validly nominated candidate. That means candidate whose nomination has been found valid, and regarding this returning officer will make a notice and will display. Yes, now there is a need to discuss regarding the withdrawal of the candidature. Section 37 deals this thing. So let us discuss first the general idea about the withdrawal of the candidature. So every candidate who has been validly nominated has a right further to reconsider and make up his mind whether he finally wants to contest the election or not. In some cases, the political parties also come to certain electoral adjustment or understanding with other parties at the last moment, whereby they decide ultimately not to file their candidature in any particular constituency, and the candidates set up by them withdraw from the contest unless they choose to become rival candidates. Therefore, the law permits the withdrawal of the candidature by those candidates who decide for any reason not to remain in the electoral race. So, section 37 says any candidate may who is validly nominated candidate may withdraw his candidature by giving a notice in writing to that effect up to 3 p.m. on the last date fixed for the withdrawal of the candidature in the program notification issued by the Election Commission under section 37 subclause 1 of the RP Act. And regarding the the notice of the withdrawal of the candidate has to be given in writing and subscribed by the candidate himself in the prescribed form, that is the form 5 as per the rules. Notice in sent in any other form shall not be taken cognizance by the returning officer. Means the withdrawal notice should be given in a prescribed form. Person authorized to submit notice of the withdrawal of the candidature. So, as per section 37 subclause 1, a notice of withdrawal of the candidature can be submitted either by the candidate himself or by any his proposer or by his election agent. A notice of the withdrawal of the candidature must be presented only in person by any of the authorized person, and it cannot be sent or communicated to the returning officer in any other manner. And here it is make it clear under section 37 subclass 2 that once a candidate has given notice of withdrawal of his candidature in the manner explained, just he has no option or discretion thereafter to withdraw or cancel his said notice. Means once the withdrawal notice of withdrawal has given, it is final. It cannot be cancelled. It cannot be revoked. And then the returning officer shall accept the notice of the withdrawal of the candidature by a candidate only after he has satisfied himself as to the genuineness of the notice, and also with regard to the identity of the person presenting the notice under section 37 subclass 3. Means returning officer has to verify whether it is a fake withdrawal or the true. Such satisfaction on the part of the returning officer is necessary, as any fake notice, if accepted, will have the consequences of the candidate being excluded from the electoral race and the constituency also being deprived of its right to choose the candidate of its choice. At the end of each day on which the candidature can be withdrawn, the returning officer shall inform the constituency about the candidature withdrawn during that day by giving a public notice to that effect. And after the expiry of the time permitted for the withdrawal of the candidature at any election, the returning officer shall prepare the list of contesting candidate, that is to say, the list of those validly nominated candidates who have not withdrawn their candidature under section 38 subclause 1 and 2. And after that, the candidates shall be classified as follows. Number 1, candidates of recognized political parties. Number 2, candidates of registered political parties other than those mentioned in number 8, and the other candidate. So these three will be category of the candidates. The list of these candidates shall be notified by the returning officer. So this is all about the rejection of the nomination paper and the withdrawal of the nomination paper, where I have discussed there are various grounds mentioned itself in the section 36 and section 37, and is talking about the withdrawal of the candidature. Now in the next topic, next lecture, I will discuss the recognition of political parties and election symbol. Thank you very much for listening me and watching me. Bye bye, students.